Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're talking all about maximizing impact in everyday conversations.
Yeah, using just your words.
Your words, that's right.
So we're going to be taking a deep dive into a guide today called 15 Great Things to Say in Everyday Conversations for Guaranteed Success.
Okay,
Oh.
guaranteed success, huh?
I know, right?
A little bit much.
That title, it's it's a lot.
Can we really transform our communication with just a few phrases?
Well, that's what we're going to be exploring today, right?
Yeah, is this a bunch of BS or is this actually something?
Well, the guide focuses on simple positive phrases to build stronger connections, make conversations more enjoyable and productive.
I can see how that makes sense.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that run the risk of sounding insincere?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like we're just reading from a script.
Yeah, you don't want to sound robotic or anything.
Right.
But it's more about the intention behind the words.
Okay.
Like, think about it.
Yeah.
When someone asks you, how are you today? But you can tell they're not really listening. It feels impersonal, right?
Cold.
So it's all about being present in the moment.
Okay, so you're saying like...
Contact, listen attentively, be genuinely curious.
So it's not the words themselves. It's more about just being an active listener.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the guide suggests phrases like, that's a great point, or could you tell me more about that?
So just acknowledging what someone is saying can go a long way.
Yeah, it shows you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, you're
Right.
actually engaged.
It makes them feel heard.
Yeah, and that can deepen the connection between people.
You know, that actually reminds me of a conversation I had recently with a friend who was telling me about their trip to Italy.
Oh, nice.
And they mentioned something that just sounded really interesting.
Okay.
And I just said, could you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
And it just opened up this whole conversation.
And what happened?
It was amazing. They just lit up and told me all these incredible details about food, the art, the people they met. It went from like a simple exchange to like this really memorable conversation.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I really think that just that one question just like made all the difference.
Yeah, so a well-placed question can unlock a treasure trove of information.
That's a great way to put it, a treasure trove.
Yeah.
But I do want to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay, sure.
Couldn't these phrases also be used manipulatively?
Yeah, you're...
But what if someone is just trying to sound more likable to get something they want?
Well, I think most people are pretty good at detecting when someone is being fake.
Okay, so authenticity is key here.
Right, exactly.
All right, so we've talked about active listening, asking engaging questions.
Yes.
But the guide also talks about validation and appreciation. Things like, I appreciate your help, or I trust your judgment.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Those convey a deeper level of respect, right?
Yeah, like you're acknowledging the other person's expertise.
Their autonomy. So again, it's not just saying the words, it's about understanding the deeper impact of those words.
Absolutely.
Like when you tell someone, I trust your judgment, it really empowers them.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where someone said that to you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What happened?
I remember when I was trying to choose between two job offers,
Oh, wow, yeah.
and one of my mentors said those exact words to me, and it really gave me the confidence to make a decision.
So simple words can have a profound impact.
Totally.
But do you ever find it awkward to use these phrases?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
And that's where I think practice comes in.
absolutely.
It's not about becoming a robot.
No.
It's about incorporating these phrases into our natural communication style.
Right, and I think that's what makes this so fascinating. We're not just learning a set of magic words.
Right.
We're actually exploring human interaction.
Okay, so we've talked about active listening,
Yeah.
asking engaging questions, expressing validation and appreciation. Seems like we're building a foundation for better conversations.
They are.
Now, as we move forward, we're going to be getting into empathy and support. And I'm curious to hear if any of these ideas resonate with you so far.
Yeah, me too. Have you had any experiences where a simple phrase made a difference in a conversation?
You know, that's a great question, and I'm sure our listeners have some stories to share as well, but we'll have to save that for later. So we talked about active listening, asking insightful questions, and expressing validation. But I'm curious about offering empathy and support.
Yeah, for sure. And the guide highlights phrases like, I completely understand. That must have been difficult. And I'm proud of you.
You know, I can see how those phrases can be really helpful, but I'm also wary of saying, I completely understand.
Yeah.
When I don't fully grasp what someone is going through.
Yeah. I totally get it.
It almost feels presumptuous.
It's about acknowledging their feelings, even if you can't relate to their specific situation.
Okay, so it's more about validating their emotions than claiming to have walked in their shoes.
Exactly.
I think sometimes we're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that we end up saying nothing at all.
Yeah, and silence can sometimes be interpreted as indifference.
Right.
Even a simple phrase like, "I'm here for you," can be incredibly powerful.
You know, that phrase reminds me of a time when I was going through a really tough breakup, and a friend of mine just sat with me and listened patiently.
Oh, wow.
And at one point she just said, "I'm here for you."
And how did that make you feel?
You know, it was so simple, but it meant the world to me.
It's a reminder that you're not alone in your struggles.
Exactly.
You know what's interesting is that empathy actually has a neurological basis.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that empathy isn't just a feeling?
No.
It's an actual phenomenon.
Yeah, our brains actually mirror the emotions that we see.
So when we see someone experiencing an emotion, our brains are kind of experiencing that same emotion.
On a neurological level, yeah.
That's fascinating.
And that's why expressions of empathy can be so powerful in building trust.
So we're literally on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you could say that.
Now I'm wondering, can we train ourselves to become more empathetic?
You know, research suggests that we can.
Wow. So by using these phrases,
Uh-huh.
we're not just improving our communication, but actually rewiring our brains?
It's a win-win.
And now that I think about it, the title of this guide, Guaranteed Success, still feels strong, but I can see how using these phrases consistently can lead to more positive outcomes.
Well, the success isn't about getting what you want from every conversation.
Right.
It's about having healthier relationships and becoming a better communicator.
Well, the guide also talks about compliments and encouragement.
Oh, yeah.
Phrases like, "You're really good at that. You handled that really well. You've made a lot of progress."
Those are great examples, but just like we talked about earlier, authenticity is key.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be genuine in your praise.
No backhanded compliments
No.
or forced compliments.
Yeah, and you also want to tailor the compliment to the person you're talking to.
That's a good point. Some people don't like to be praised publicly.
They might find it embarrassing. So it's all about reading the room.
I'm thinking about the phrase, "You've made a lot of progress."
Uh-huh.
That one seems really effective when someone's working hard to improve.
It acknowledges their effort and encourages them to keep going.
Exactly like when you were first learning to play the piano.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, you play the piano?
I dabble. I'm certainly no concert pianist.
But you remember struggling with a difficult piece.
Yeah, and my teacher said to me, "You've made a lot of progress."
Yeah.
It kept me motivated to keep practicing.
So it's those little moments that can make a big difference.
Right. Whether it's learning a new skill, navigating a personal challenge, or just getting through a tough day.
So communication isn't just about conveying information.
No.
It's also about building connections,
Yeah.
fostering trust,
Uh-huh.
and inspiring each other.
Exactly.
So the 15 phrases for guaranteed success might not guarantee success,
Uh-huh.
but it highlights how small changes in our communication can have a big impact.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about active listening, empathy, compliments.
We have.
But there's one last piece of the puzzle I want to discuss, and that's practice.
Yeah, practice is essential, just like any skill.
We're not going to magically become master conversationalists overnight.
No, it takes time and effort.
So it's about incorporating these phrases into our daily lives.
Yeah, what if you picked one or two phrases from the guide each week?
I love that idea.
And just focus on using them.
It's like a little experiment.
It is.
And who knows, maybe by the end of this deep dive, our listeners will have their own set of phrases that they like to use.
That would be great, because ultimately the goal is to use language in a way that feels authentic to you.
So what are some of the phrases that you personally find most effective?
Well, I'm a naturally curious person,
Mhm.
so I often find myself using phrases like, well, like I was saying, I'm a naturally curious person.
Right.
So I often find myself using phrases like, "Tell me more about that," or "That's really interesting, could you elaborate?"
I like those.
It helps me stay engaged and learn more about the other person.
And it shows that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say.
Exactly.
So it's like we're not just talking at each other. We're actually having a dialogue.
We're building that connection.
I love it. And I think that's what makes communication so fascinating.
It's complex.
It's this dance between listening, speaking, understanding, and responding.
It's more than just words.
It's about creating a space where both people feel comfortable and respected.
So when we use phrases like "the ones in this guide," We're setting the stage for more authentic and meaningful conversations.
Yeah, and I think that's a much better definition of guaranteed success.
It's not about manipulating people.
Right.
It's about fostering genuine connections.
And I think that's something we can all strive for.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this exploration of everyday phrases,
What are some key takeaways that our listeners can implement in their own lives?
well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that we all have the power to make a positive impact through our words.
I agree with that.
It's not about being a perfect communicator.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful and present in our interactions.
And being willing to practice.
Exactly. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning.
It is.
The real learning happens when we start putting these ideas into practice.
And I have a feeling that if we all make a conscious effort to use our words more thoughtfully,
We can create a ripple effect of positivity.
and that's something worth striving for.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for joining us.
And until next time, keep those conversations flowing and those connections strong.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into something exciting today.
And to words.
Words, that's right. 25 of them, actually,
That's right.
that can seriously boost your communication skills.
Yeah. Make you a much more powerful communicator.
Yeah. And our source this time is this video, and it's titled, "If You Know These 25 Words, Your English is Excellent."
Bold.
Yeah, it's a little bold, but you know what? I like it. Let's aim high.
Let's go for it.
So how does this video break down these 25 words?
Well, it starts by grouping them. And the first group is all about sharp thinking, words like articulate, astute, and perceptive.
Okay, so articulate I use all the time. When someone's a good communicator.
Yeah.
Astute and perceptive, though. Are those just synonyms for articulate? What's going on there?
They're definitely in the same family, but there are some subtle differences. Articulate is really excelling at expressing yourself clearly, effectively, often in a verbal or written form. So you think of a skilled debater or writer who crafts beautiful prose.
Okay, I'm with you. So where do astute and perceptive fit into that?
So astute goes a bit deeper, I would say. It implies a sharpness of judgment, an ability to grasp complex situations and draw insightful conclusions. So it's not just communication, it's the thought process behind it.
So you could be articulate without being astute, but not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could have an astute person who's not the most eloquent speaker,
Uh-huh.
but their insights would be incredibly valuable
Interesting.
in decision-making or problem-solving.
So perceptive. I always think of that as picking up on those subtle cues.
That's a great way to put it. A perceptive person is highly attuned to their surroundings and the people around them, noticing details others miss, and often they have a knack for understanding underlying motivations.
So it kind of goes hand in hand with astute, but more observation and intuition, less analysis.
Yeah, precisely. And in many situations, being perceptive can be just as valuable as being astute. So think of a therapist who can pick up on a client's unspoken emotions, or a detective who notices tiny clues at a crime scene.
So we've got articulate for expressing yourself clearly, astute for insightful thinking, and perceptive for that keen observation. Seems like these words are pretty helpful in any field
Oh, yeah.
where communication and understanding are key.
Absolutely. Whether you're a lawyer crafting a persuasive argument, or a scientist interpreting data, or a teacher explaining a complex concept, these are qualities that can really help you excel.
This is already making me rethink how I describe people. I'm
Yeah.
going to be a lot more specific with my word choices going forward.
I love it. Yeah.
So speaking of precision, the source's next category focuses on effort and impact. Words like conscientious, diligent, fastidious, and meticulous, they all seem to relate to being detail-oriented. Am I on the right track?
Yes, you are. They all imply a certain level of care and attention to detail, but there are definitely shades of meaning that are worth exploring.
Okay, break it down for me. What are the key differences?
So let's start with conscientious and diligent. Both suggest a strong work ethic and a commitment to thoroughness. Someone who's conscientious is guided by a strong sense of duty and responsibility, takes their work seriously, and strives to do their best.
I can definitely relate to that. I like to think I'm a conscientious worker, but sometimes I struggle with procrastination.
Well, that's where diligent comes in. Diligence is all about consistent effort and perseverance. It's about sticking with a task even when it gets challenging or tedious.
So diligent is more action, conscientious, more attitude.
That's a good way to think about it. They often go hand in hand, of course.
What about fastidious and meticulous?
Yeah.
Just ramp up the detail-oriented factor.
It do, but in slightly different ways. Meticulous suggests a very precise and careful approach, often involving a lot of planning and organization. Think of a surgeon carefully mapping out every step of a complex procedure.
So meticulous equals systematic and thorough. Fastidious, though, the source gives the example of being fastidious about cleanliness.
Yeah.
It seems like it goes beyond just being tidy.
You're right. Fastidious suggests a level of attention to detail that borders on perfectionism. Often implies a strong dislike of anything messy, imperfect, or out of place.
So a fastidious person might be meticulous in their work, but they might also be very particular about their appearance, their home, even their hobbies. It's like an all-encompassing attention to detail.
Exactly. Now, the important thing to remember is that these words aren't inherently good or bad.
Oh, interesting.
Being meticulous can be a great asset in certain professions, but it can also lead to procrastination or analysis paralysis if taken to an extreme.
Right. It's all about finding that balance and understanding the context.
Right, and that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about learning definitions, it's about understanding the nuances of language and how we can use these words effectively to express ourselves.
So to recap, we have conscientious for a strong sense of duty, diligent for consistent effort, meticulous for systematic thoroughness, and fastidious for a near-obsessive level of attention to detail. I'm realizing how much power lies in choosing the right word.
Absolutely.
And we're just getting started.
I know, right?
The next group of words is all about powerful communication. Words like eloquent, galvanize, and ineffable. Are you ready to dive in?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's explore how these words can help us become more persuasive and impactful communicators. All right, so let's unpack these powerful communication words. Eloquent, galvanize, and ineffable, each packing quite a punch.
I'm intrigued already. Eloquent always makes me think of like a speaker, who can hold an audience spellbound, like they're weaving magic with their words.
Yes. Eloquent describes someone who can express themselves with such grace, clarity, and persuasion that they just captivate their listeners. It's not just about choosing like fancy words, it's about using language to create a powerful emotional connection.
So I see there's a difference there. Someone could use a lot of big words without actually being eloquent if their message isn't clear or engaging.
Exactly.
It's the whole package.
Yeah.
Words, delivery, passion.
Totally.
So how would you say galvanize differs from eloquent? They both seem to involve influencing people.
That's a good question. If eloquent is about captivating an audience, I think galvanize goes a step further and inspires them to take action.
Okay.
It's about sparking a fire,
Yeah.
motivating people to do something.
Yeah.
So think of a political leader who rallies their supporters to fight for a cause, or a coach who gives a pep talk that ignites their team's determination.
Okay.
Galvanize is about transforming words into action.
Powerful stuff. All right, ineffable. That one always throws me off a bit.
Yeah.
What's so powerful about a word that means beyond words?
That's the paradox, right? Ineffable points to the limits of language. Those experiences or emotions that are so profound, so overwhelming, that words can't capture their full essence.
Like trying to describe the feeling of awe when you look up at a starry night sky.
Yes.
Or the overwhelming joy of holding your newborn child for the first time.
Exactly.
Words just don't seem big enough.
Words aren't big enough. And by acknowledging the limits of language, ineffable actually adds to the power of our communication. It creates a sense of mystery, of something too grand to be fully grasped.
Okay, so we've got eloquence for captivating, galvanizing for inspiring action, and ineffable for acknowledging the indescribable. What a range.
Yeah.
So the next two words on our list are fortuitous and serendipitous, both dealing with chance and good fortune.
Right.
I find myself using lucky all the time.
Yeah.
Do these words offer us a more nuanced way to describe those moments of good fortune?
They do, yeah. They both involve positive, unplanned events, but there's a subtle distinction. Fortuitous simply means happening by chance, especially in a way that's beneficial. So it could be a chance encounter that leads to a new job opportunity or winning a lottery you forgot you entered.
Just plain luck.
Yeah.
Where does serendipitous come in then?
Serendipitous adds a layer of pleasant surprise and unexpected discovery. It's not just that something good happened, but that you stumbled upon it without even looking for it. So think of finding a rare antique at a flea market or meeting your soulmate while on vacation.
Oh, like the universe is conspiring in your favor,
right.
even though...
This is what makes serendipity so delightful and memorable.
This makes me think of when I was browsing in a used bookstore and I stumbled upon a first edition of my favorite author's book. I wasn't even looking for it.
Perfect example.
Felt like fate. So tenacious and resilient.
Right.
I see these words used a lot to describe successful people, those who don't give up easily,
Yes.
can bounce back from setbacks. What are the key differences there?
So tenacious emphasizes persistence and determination. It's about holding firmly to your goals and refusing to give up, even in the face of obstacles. Think of an athlete who trains relentlessly to overcome an injury, or an entrepreneur who faces rejection after rejection, but never gives up on their dream.
That never say die spirit, right? Inner drive that keeps people going when others might give up.
Exactly. Now, resilient is about the ability to bounce back from adversity.
Okay.
It's about adaptability and flexibility, being able to bend without breaking. Think of someone who loses their job, but quickly picks themselves up, learns new skills, and finds a new path.
So tenacious is pushing forward despite challenges, while resilient is adapting to change and bouncing back from setbacks.
Exactly. And both qualities are essential for navigating the ups and downs of life.
You know, I'm realizing that some of these words, like tenacious and resilient, aren't just descriptive, they're aspirational.
Yes.
They represent qualities that we can cultivate in ourselves.
That's a great observation. Learning these words isn't just about expanding our vocabulary, it's about expanding our understanding of human potential and striving to embody these qualities in our own lives.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground.
I know, right?
We still have a few more words to explore, though. What's next on our list?
Well, we've talked a lot about communication and personal qualities. Let's shift gears a bit and focus on words that describe different aspects of experience and knowledge.
Sounds good to me. So what kind of words are we looking at now?
Well, we've got prolific, which describes someone who produces a large amount of work, creates many things.
Ah, prolific. This makes me think of like authors who seem to publish a new book every year, or artists who create a constant stream of paintings and sculptures.
Yeah.
Like their creativity is a never-ending fountain.
Exactly. And being prolific often goes hand in hand with the qualities we discussed earlier, like diligence and meticulousness.
Right.
It takes a lot of effort and dedication to produce such a large volume of high-quality work.
That makes me think of Mozart, composed hundreds of musical masterpieces in his short lifetime.
Incredible.
It's mind-boggling how
Yeah.
some people can be so incredibly productive.
Yeah, it really is inspiring. And speaking of inspiration, another word on our list is exemplary, which describes someone who sets a great example or serves as a role model.
Okay, so this makes me think of teachers who go above and beyond to inspire their students.
Yeah.
Leaders who embody the values they preach.
Yes.
It's about actions speaking louder than words.
Precisely. An exemplary person not only sets a high standard for themselves, but also inspires others to strive for excellence.
Okay, I'm curious about succinct. I know it means being concise and to the point,
Yeah.
but why is that so important?
Well, in a world overflowing with information, being able to communicate clearly and efficiently is more valuable than ever.
Okay.
Succinct describes that ability to get your message across without unnecessary words or rambling explanations.
So many situations where that would be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Writing emails, giving presentations,
Oh, yeah.
having everyday conversations. Even
Oh, yeah.
nobody wants to listen to someone just drone on and on.
No, they don't.
So being succinct shows respect for your audience's time and attention.
It does.
It's about making every word count.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be more succinct
I think you should.
going forward. I think it will make a difference.
I think it will too.
All right, so the last word on our list is nostalgic, which describes a longing for the past, often associated with happy memories.
Nostalgia. I think we all experience that feeling from time to time, whether it's triggered by a song, a scent, or a photograph.
It's like taking a trip down memory lane.
Exactly. Nostalgia can be a powerful emotion. It connects us to our past and reminds us of the people, places, and experiences that have shaped who we are.
It's funny how even seemingly insignificant things can trigger a wave of nostalgia, like the smell of freshly baked cookies that reminds you of your grandmother's kitchen, or the sound of rain that takes you back to your childhood bedroom.
It's those little sensory details that can transport us back in time and evoke a flood of emotions.
Yeah.
Nostalgia can be bittersweet, of course, because it often reminds us of things that are gone, but it can also be a source of comfort and joy,
Yeah.
helping us to appreciate the richness of our lives.
Well said. This deep dive into the world of words has been fascinating. It's amazing how much nuance and power can be packed into a single word.
It is.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the power of language, I'm definitely going to be paying much closer attention to the words I use and the words I hear from now on.
That's great. That's what we want.
Well, I want to thank you for taking us on this journey of linguistic discovery.
My pleasure.
I feel like I've learned so much.
I'm glad.
To our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to expand your own vocabulary and discover the power of words.
Remember, learning new words is an ongoing process.
It is.
So keep exploring, keep reading, keep listening, and most importantly, keep using those words in your everyday life.
Absolutely. And as a final thought-provoking question for our listeners, which word from today's deep dive resonated with you the most? And how will you try to incorporate it into your communication this week? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, happy wordsmithing.
All right, so let's ditch the whole learn English for work thing.
Yeah.
We're going deeper
Way deeper.
into all the unexpected benefits of mastering English.
Right.
Stuff that even like seasoned learners, might find pretty surprising.
For sure.
And our source for this deep dive is this really insightful excerpt
Okay.
called Why You Shouldn't Learn English Just for Work. So get ready for some serious aha moments.
Yeah. It's fascinating how much we box in language learning. It's not just about resumes and stuff. It's like a cognitive upgrade that impacts every corner of your life.
Oh, wow.
Literally rewiring your brain.
Really?
Yeah. Studies show that bilinguals, they have enhanced attention control and stuff, which is a game changer, even for, say, a computer programmer.
That's mind-blowing.
Right.
I always knew that learning a new language was good for you.
Yeah.
But I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and the source breaks it down by skill level,
Okay.
which I find incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Even at the beginner level, those small wins, like ordering food while you're abroad or taking a basic online course in English.
Yeah.
Those are huge.
So you're saying even those baby steps can have a big impact?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Think about it. You're not just memorizing phrases.
Right.
You're engaging with the world more directly.
That's true.
What stands out to you about that early stage of learning?
Well, I think it's that feeling of independence.
Yes.
Suddenly you're not relying on someone else to translate everything for you.
Ah.
You know you're in control.
You are.
It's easy to forget that when you're struggling with verb conjugations.
Exactly. And the source highlights how as you hit that intermediate level,
Okay.
things really open up. You can dive into global online communities.
Right.
Understand your favorite English language shows without subtitles.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a whole new level of connection.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this goes way beyond just the typical career advice.
Right. You're not just learning English. You're opening up these new avenues for personal growth.
Totally.
You're participating, not just passively consuming. And as you progress, imagine engaging in nuanced conversations.
Wow.
Debating ideas, forming relationships with people from all walks of life.
That's amazing.
The confidence boost alone is transformative.
The source mentions confidence quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's the connection there?
Well, think about it. Learning a language is challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Every step forward from mastering a tricky grammar rule to holding a conversation,
Right.
it proves to yourself that you can tackle tough stuff.
Yeah.
It builds resilience, a growth mindset.
Right.
And that's valuable in any pursuit, not just language.
That's a great point. It's like that I can climb a mountain feeling,
Yeah,
but for your brain.
exactly.
And speaking of mountains, the source dives into travel,
Yeah.
which I know is a huge motivator for many language learners.
While travel is definitely a common motivator.
Right.
The source argues that it's the independence gained that's truly transformative.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I totally agree. Anyone can follow a tour guide around.
Yeah.
But imagine exploring a new city, striking up conversations with locals, discovering hidden gems off the beaten path, all because you can communicate confidently.
Yeah.
That's a different level of experience entirely.
It's about going beyond the surface, experiencing a culture on a deeper level,
Right.
not just observing it from a tourist's perspective.
And that ties back to the confidence we were talking about.
Right.
You're not just a tourist anymore, you're a traveler, an explorer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're empowered to shape your own experience.
I like that.
And the source emphasizes that feeling of empowerment throughout at every skill level.
That's so interesting. It's like language learning is this secret weapon for personal growth,
Yeah,
but most people only see the tip of the iceberg.
exactly. And we're just getting started.
Oh, wow.
What really grabbed my attention was the source's focus on going beyond the practical benefits
Okay.
and diving into the realm of personal growth and broader perspectives.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Tell me more.
Well, it talks about developing empathy
Ah.
by understanding different cultures' viewpoints,
Yeah,
which is crucial in our increasingly interconnected world.
right. It's one thing to read about a different culture,
Hmm.
but it's another thing entirely to connect with someone from that culture,
Absolutely.
understand their perspective, and see the world through their eyes.
Yeah,
That's real understanding.
absolutely. And the source links this directly to personal growth,
Okay.
becoming more adaptable, more open-minded,
Right.
more well-rounded as a person.
This is way more profound than I expected.
Right.
We've gone from ordering food to literally expanding our worldview.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and we haven't even touched on the educational benefits yet.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's dive into that. What does the source say about education? I think we often forget that language opens up access to a whole world of knowledge.
It's a gateway, like you said.
Yeah.
Even at a basic level, being able to follow simple instructions
Uh-huh.
or understand like a basic online course,
Right.
that can be eye-opening.
You know, that reminds me of a friend who learned just enough English to take an online photography course.
Wow.
And it sparked this whole passion he never knew he had.
Yeah,
He's now winning awards for his photography.
that's incredible.
I know, it's amazing.
It's amazing how something as simple as understanding instructions
Right.
can snowball into something so significant.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is how the source emphasizes that this educational benefit scales as your fluency grows.
So what happens when you move beyond the beginner stage?
Imagine this, you're at the intermediate level.
Okay.
You can now attend international webinars,
Hmm?
participate in workshops led by experts from around the world.
Right.
It completely changes the game,
You're not just learning English anymore.
right?
You're learning about any topic that interests you.
Yeah,
Taught by the best in the field.
exactly. And for those who achieve an advanced level,
Okay.
the possibilities become even more vast.
Like what?
Think about applying for international scholarships,
Yeah.
studying at top universities in English-speaking countries.
Talk about a life-changing opportunity.
Right.
But even if you're not aiming for academia, the access to information itself is incredible. You're not limited to resources in your native language anymore.
That's a point the source really drives home. You can read research papers, articles, books,
Right.
all in their original language.
Wow.
It removes a layer of interpretation
Yeah.
and allows you to engage with information directly.
It's like getting a backstage pass to the world of knowledge.
Exactly.
So we've covered communication, confidence, travel, personal growth, education.
Yeah.
What else is there?
There's one more point I want to highlight.
Okay.
And it's something that really resonated with me. The source discusses how learning English can help you become a more informed and engaged global citizen.
Okay, now that's a powerful statement.
Right.
Tell me more.
Think about it. You're no longer limited to news sources or opinions in your native language.
Right.
You can access information from various perspectives,
Yeah.
form your own opinions based on a wider range of viewpoints.
It's so easy to get trapped in your own little bubble,
It is.
especially with the way news is curated these days.
Right.
Breaking free from that echo chamber and seeing different sides of a story
Yeah.
feels incredibly important.
That's precisely what the source is getting at.
Hmm.
It's about developing critical thinking skills,
Right.
discerning fact from fiction,
Uh-huh.
and understanding the complexities of global issues.
So I'm seeing now how all of these benefits connect.
Yeah.
It starts with basic communication,
Mm-hmm.
then builds confidence,
Mm-hmm.
opens doors to travel and education,
Right.
broadens perspectives, and ultimately empowers you to engage with the world on a whole new level.
That's the beautiful journey this excerpt takes us on.
Yeah.
It dismantles the limited view of language learning as just a career tool
Right.
and reveals its potential to transform our lives from the inside out.
This has been a real eye-opener.
Hasn't it?
I'm starting to think of fluency in English less like a skill to acquire
Mm-hmm.
and more like a key to unlocking a whole new version of myself.
And to think we're just scratching the surface here.
Wow.
There's so much more to uncover. So much potential for growth and discovery.
Honestly, I'm blown away by how much deeper this topic goes than I initially thought.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And to our listener out there, I'd say buckle up because this deep dive is about to get really personal. Okay, so we've covered like a ton of ground here, but
yeah.
what does it all really mean? For you, our listener,
Right.
what's the big takeaway here?
Well, the key takeaway for me is this: don't limit your thinking about learning English.
Uh-huh.
It's not just a box to check on your resume
No.
or a tool for navigating tourist traps.
It's a catalyst for personal transformation, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's about expanding your world,
Yeah.
both literally and figuratively, pushing beyond your comfort zone and embracing new possibilities.
And the best part is it's never too late to start.
Never.
No matter where you are in life, what your current skill level is,
Right.
there's always something new to learn and discover.
Exactly. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step towards a richer, more fulfilling life.
This excerpt really hammered home the point that learning English is an investment in yourself,
Yeah.
an investment in your future.
An investment that pays dividends in ways you might never have imagined.
Okay, I have to ask.
Yeah.
If fluency in English could unlock one door in your life right now, which would you choose and why?
That's a great question. I think for me, it would be the ability to delve deeper into different cultures
Okay.
through their literature and films,
Wow.
to experience those stories in their original language
Right.
without any filters or translations.
Right. Wow, that's beautiful. And it speaks to the heart of what we've been discussing today.
Yeah.
This idea of connecting with the world on a deeper level.
It's about understanding, appreciating, and embracing the richness and diversity of human experience.
Well said. I feel like we've really cracked open this topic and uncovered so many hidden gems.
We have.
I know.
And this is just the beginning.
Right.
I encourage you, our listener, to keep exploring, keep learning, keep pushing those boundaries.
There's a whole world of knowledge, experiences, and connections out there waiting to be discovered.
So go forth and learn, my friends.
Yes.
Embrace the journey and see where it takes you.
Until next time.